Well, we have good timing. I'm glad you're here, and good morning. What a week it has been. What a huge storm system Eastern Canada saw, and we're going to recap all of that here throughout the show. So thanks for being with us. Have a look at this. Our developing stories. Rain continues in the Atlantic. We're also going to talk about some storm totals, and Nathan recaps the nor'easter. You're not going to want to miss that one. It's going to be a great story. Now, the good news is the nor'easter finally making its way out, but a new low for Atlantic Canada, and unfortunately this is going to be leaving some unsettled conditions. And these are the sorts of conditions you don't need, because we're looking at a lot of stuff like this. Have a look at Moncton out in New Brunswick. This is where lots of rain, lots of big totals have been, and wow. Moncton, I'll show you these totals. Almost 150 millimeters of rain fell in Moncton with the nor'easter. Impressive snow totals as well. Look at Bathurst. Bathurst was such a messy mix with the snow and a good amount of rain. It was awful for commuters. I know you've all experienced that. Now, the unfortunate part of this is more rain is on the way. We have a new trough coming through, and it's going to bring temperatures down, and it's going to bring less than 10 millimeters throughout the Maritime provinces, and then a touch more as we take a look at Port aux Basques and the west side of Newfoundland. Now, in terms of your temperatures, fairly okay today. Look at this, 6 in Charlottetown, 6 in Halifax, but under that, unfortunately, rainy sky, it's going to be a little bit of a dull day today. Now, Nate Coleman, what a guy. He's got you all covered out in the Atlantic provinces, and he has recapped the nor'easter. Here's his look right now.
Fresh.
Well, a very good morning to you. It's Friday, and I'm glad you're here because we're finally talking about a calmer day throughout eastern portions of the country. The nor'easter just squeezing out the last few bits, and overall temperatures are looking to be okay. 3 in Moncton, -3 in Hamilton, just a slight hair below seasonal there. And then out on our west coast, also finally getting a break from some very active weather. We're looking at temperatures 9 in Victoria and 3 in Kelowna. Well, a very good morning to you. It's Friday, and this is pretty exciting. There it goes, the nor'easter. It's finally out of Eastern Canada, and boy, did it make a mess. In terms of the rain or in terms of the snow, many Canadians felt the effects of that very powerful storm. We'll be sharing some totals with you throughout the hour, and Chrissy Van is also coming up with a really great update in terms of the active weather that we've seen throughout this week. Now, once we jump into our story here, we can see this upper band, this trowel that we see, this is finally out of the way. That is the nor'easter. Unfortunately, though, we do have a new disturbance coming into play, and we can see here that it's really going to cool down some of the temperatures. I'll show you the temperatures maps in a second throughout the show, but you can see the moisture that it is going to continue to bring throughout the day and also through Saturday as well, finally clearing for much of you into Sunday. But if you're in Moncton and you have totals around 144 millimeters of rain, a new system is not what you want to see. Now, the good news is with this system, there's no way you're going to get 144 millimeters of rain again. We're looking less than 10 millimeters widespread, 10 to 20 for Newfoundland, but yes, another rainy mix. Now, this is what people had to drive through. Isn't this just incredible? Dana Batiste was on the show earlier, just one of our meteorologists behind the scenes, and she was mentioning that some people in the Maritime provinces got enough rain with this just one nor'easter, enough to last a whole month's worth of rain, some even exceeding that. So very impressive totals here. Now, for this morning, unfortunately, the gloomy sky, rain will be falling, yes, but temperatures are fairly comfortable, especially through southern portions of Nova Scotia. Look at that here. Now, a very active week throughout the country from BC right to Newfoundland, and Chrissy Van has a recap right now.
Why is this band just constantly like the same position all morning? It seems like we could run the same radar and it'd look the same.
Yes, welcome to Canada. Our storm watch coverage, we were busy over the past 3 days. It has all come to the end. That nor'easter is getting on out of here, and we'll be bringing you the totals throughout the hour. Have a look at some of our developing stories. Recap of a wild snow day. We'll get into that. Also, good news in the long range, warmer temperatures and massive winds and those power outages in BC. We'll be breaking all of that down. But first, let's show you this. This is Ontario. The snow story was very impressive, and here's a look at some of the totals here. Barrie around 15 centimeters to 26 centimeters, so quite a wide spread through Barrie. But let's go down towards Markham, 22 centimeters. St. Catharines around 31. It was a big snow story. But get this, okay, City of Toronto, where there's around 13 centimeters on the ground, temperatures are only going up into Tuesday. What does this mean? A big melt is on the way. Good morning to you. It's Friday. Rachel Schoutsen here with you today, and this is some good news. We're having a look at the nor'easter departing from eastern Canada. There it is, as we can look at our cloud tops in their screen, and finally the bulk of that moisture is gone, but we need to recap. Yeah, we need to take a look at some of these totals. But however, this amount, look at this. This is some pretty good totals. Markham, 22 centimeters. St. Catharines, 31 centimeters. Our producer, Mike, he made a really good point, Michelle. Take a look at this. He said we should have a feels like in terms of the snowfall. So we'll get 10 centimeters of snow, but it really feels like 30. I'm sure a lot of people throughout southern Ontario are thinking that this morning.
I'll send it back inside for more on your weather story with Rachel.
Yeah, the roads were prepared. We knew that this snow was coming, and the cities did take the proper precautions, but when we saw snowfall rates, like in Markham at around 3 centimeters per hour, that is just a lot to keep up with. Now, the good news is throughout Ontario, it's a clear day. There's not too much going on in terms of the active weather. As we can see, some clouds will build. Yes, into Saturday, we can actually be seeing some fog as well. Foggy conditions because of the mild air that's headed our way and the cool snow on the ground. Yes, mild air on the way. Look at some of these temperatures, not just yet, but for Saturday. Now, Nate has a great recap. Here he is right now. And we're back. Thanks so much for being with us this morning as we recap what a wild week throughout our country. Chrissy Van is coming up in a second, but first, I want to get to some pictures because you have shared beautiful photos of the snow throughout this week, especially yesterday. Have a look at this. This is the calm after the storm. Kirk sent this one in from Rockwood, Ontario. So Kirk, I want to say thank you very much for the photo, and I'm going to give you a personalized forecast for Rockwood. Today, your high is 1 under a sunny sky and no snow. Put away the shovel. You don't need to shovel any snow today. But what a difference it was in terms of who saw the snow and who didn't. Look at this. London, Ontario, nothing. Thanks, Corey, for this picture. And then you go to the City of Toronto. No one was having a picnic outside, that's for sure. And also our capital, beautiful conditions there with the snow. Now, Chrissy Van is covering our weather coast to coast. Here she is. What an active week it has been across our beautiful country. Some getting a lot more snow than they had hoped for. Some getting flooded rains. We're going to break down all of those totals coming up. But first, I want you to notice this. The nor'easter, it's almost right out of the screen now. No longer dealing with the effects of that, but we do have a new trough coming into play, and this is going to be bringing some unsettled weather to Atlantic Canada. I'll break down those details, but first, let me show you this. Awful. Some of these totals here, quite impressive. 22 centimeters in Markham, a lot more up towards Barrie, even down into St. Catharines, around 31. So, Michelle, the Salters and the Sanders, they were out yesterday. You know all about that story, but the snow was just falling too fast and too much. They couldn't keep up with it.
And
hey, Michelle, you're reading my mind. You know that because on Monday, possibly 6 degrees. Yeah, I'll be lacing up for that. Hopefully, all the snow will be gone. Yeah, the warm temperatures, that's also going to melt a lot of the snow throughout southern Ontario. So as we look at our story here, not too much to talk about in terms of today. We are seeing fairly clear conditions. The winds are a lot calmer as well, around 20 to 40 kilometers. Not too bad, not too noticeable. Now, we do have the winds now coming out of the west and then out of the south. And this is going to be bringing us some warmer temperatures, a lot more mild, as Michelle was hinting to there. So this is going to bump temperatures up throughout Saturday. But you're going to have to get through this first. A very cool morning throughout northern Ontario with that wind chill. I know it's not as bad as what you have seen, but dress for the occasion here. And then into southern Ontario as well. A similar morning to yesterday in terms of the temperatures, in fact, where the wind chills were making it feel very winter-like. Now, as we head in towards the Atlantic provinces, this is where we are bracing for yet another system. And let's recap some of the rain that you were seeing yesterday. Take a look at this footage here. Oh my goodness. The bulk of the rain fell for you on Wednesday, but then into Thursday, those were the conditions that you had to drive with. A lot of you pumping out the basement. I know it's not the best scene here, and I am sorry to tell you that this new trough is going to be bringing some more rain throughout this morning, lasting throughout the day as well. And what it's also going to do is it's going to cool down some of your temperatures as well. I want to mention up in towards western New Brunswick and into the eastern Quebec Maritimes. This is where we will be seeing some snow mixing. And also, this is a look at some of the totals. Very impressive. Now, don't go anywhere. Michelle Mackey will be joining us next.
This weather set.
Well, force of nature really tells it all, doesn't it? What a week it was. We saw so much active weather out of BC with the flooding rain, the nor'easter that affected people from Ontario through to Newfoundland. So here's a look at our developing stories. The rain, it continues in the Atlantic, and no, this is not in regards to the nor'easter. Also, we want to talk about some storm totals. Yeah, from Thursday. Pretty impressive. And Nate, he's also going to recap the nor'easter. So here's a look at some of our current systems right now. We can see high pressure comes into play for Ontario. A lot of people happy about that. A big break after yesterday's snowstorm, but unfortunately a new low into the Atlantic provinces, and this is going to bring some more rain. From downtown Toronto up into Newmarket, and it took 3 hours, and that was at 7 a.m. yesterday. That was just when the snow was starting. So I could only imagine what it looked like at maybe 2 p.m. or 3 p.m. yesterday. Huge increase in travel times. And as we look at some of the totals, well, this tells the story, doesn't it? 31 centimeters around that in St. Catharines through the city of Toronto, looking at around 13 to 15 centimeters. A lot of snow. Too much snow too fast. People were prepared. The cities were prepared. The streets were salted properly. However, with such a high snowfall rate, 3 centimeters per hour in Markham, let's say, it was just too much. Now, the good news is today it's a very clear day. We're really not dealing with anything in the way of weather. What you'll feel, though, is these wind chills. It's going to be a biting cold. -7, that's what it's like in Toronto. It also went up to the north as well, and that brought the snow through North Bay, and visibility was quite low at some times, so very hard to navigate your scene. I know it's not as busy up in North Bay as it is down in the GTA, but still, terrible time for drivers. Now, as we shift our focus into Atlantic Canada, this is what you're bracing for. Another low that is going to be bringing some rain through Saturday will clear into Sunday, mainly for New Brunswick, so you're left with an okay day. Now, well, a very good morning to you. It's Friday, and I'm glad you're here because we're finally talking about a calmer day throughout eastern portions of the country. The nor'easter just squeezing out the last few bits, and overall temperatures are looking to be okay. 3 in Moncton, -3 in Hamilton, just a slight hair below seasonal there. And then out on our west coast, also finally getting a break from some very active weather. We're looking at temperatures 9 in Victoria and 3 in Kelowna. A very good morning to you, December the 12th, and let's talk about our weather. There's a lot to say, isn't there? Let's recap some totals. Michelle Mackey's outside. She's in the sand. We'll get to her in a second. But first, look at this. The nor'easter is gone. And thank goodness for that, because I'm sure people in Ontario, they couldn't shovel any more snow. Look at this. 22 centimeters in Markham, around 26 up in Barrie through the Ottawa Valley, 15 to 20 centimeters as well. Hey, Michelle, you're in the sand. And by sand, I mean the road winter cleaning operation. Sorry, not a beach in Cuba.
Yeah, sadly not a beach, but I am surrounded by salt and sand. I'm here at the Milton Winter Maintenance Operations Center, and I'm...
Oh, thanks so much, guys. And Ryan, thank you for plowing the roads. I know when I woke up this morning driving through Oakville, I thought, wow, this is really nice. I didn't have to deal with snow-covered roads. I know some of the side streets, yes, still covered, but they will get around to that today and into tomorrow, I'm sure. Now, as we look at our weather story today throughout Ontario, not a lot to talk about. No, fairly boring in comparison to yesterday, but it's a well-needed break for much of you. Now, the one thing I do want to point out here is the wind switch that we're going to see. We're going to see a little more of a southerly flow, a southwest wind, and this is going to bump up our temperatures. You'll feel this into Saturday, Sunday, and especially through Monday as well. But first, you've got to get through this, okay? The wind chill. Things are going to be cool. Not as cold, not the coldest day ever, but yeah, it's cool. You have to dress for the elements into southern Ontario. Similar day in terms of the temperatures as to what we saw yesterday. Also, with that fresh snowpack on the ground, that makes temperatures even cooler. Now, where we weren't dealing with the snow is a huge amount of rain for some, an overwhelming amount of rain for many, I'll say. A lot of you having to pump out the basement after a huge flooding. You're either dealing with mass amounts of snow or mass amounts of rain. And rain with that frozen ground, that is never a good situation. Now, we have the nor'easter that is getting on out of here, but watch this. A new low comes into play, and this is going to be bringing mainly rain, but also a touch of snow for western New Brunswick. This will be lasting Saturday, even through to Sunday as well. Now, don't go anywhere because we've got the totals coming up. The snow was relentless on Thursday, but it might be gone sooner than you would think. Coming up, when the snow will melt.